thank you, Trinity School kids. And actually, if you want to stand inside of the barriers, we put them there so that people could drive by on the back side. But you can stand wherever you'd like, but I just thought that's why we put them there for everybody to see. My name is Peter Osborne, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the director of the city's, our historical society here in the city of Port Jervis, and also the city historian, and have been for the last 14 years in charge of our Arbor Day program here. And it is nice to have you here, especially the young people. And this is the only holiday of the year, Arbor Day, and that's why it's important that the young people are here, that looks to the future, doesn't look backwards. It looks to the day when this tree or all the other trees that we've planted will become these big, beautiful trees that we love to look at. And since Dick Roberts is the one who started Arbor Day all those years ago, and he's here again, he's only missed one in 14 years. Rex Horan has only missed one. I'm the only person who's been to all 14 of them, Rex. So anyway, just to show you how Arbor Day has had a lot of impact on people and kids, next time you're driving along East Main Street and you go by the Hub Bank, there's a senior citizen housing complex there on East Main Street. And all of those trees in front of that complex were planted at an Arbor Day in the 1930s. And they've done well since then. So I'm going to turn this over to Dick Roberts, who is the former mayor of our great city and also a former Orange County legislator.
15 of these, you'll get that. Thank you. Actually, this truly marks the first day of spring every year when we do Arbor Day. And although it was under my administration that we began celebrating Arbor Day in the communities and in the neighborhoods like here on Buckley Street, it was really at the urging of Peter Osborne. Anyone that knows Peter knows that when he gets something in his mind that he wants to do, it's pretty hard for anyone, especially a public official, to say no. So it was truly Peter Osborne that over the years has always orchestrated Arbor Days and put them together and planned them. And we want to thank Peter because I know it has been said by many mayors of this city that the volunteers are the backbones of our community. And especially when volunteers plant trees, which is what's happened over the last 14 years throughout our city, and to get the Tree City designation and so forth is very important because it truly shows that the community, the citizens, the children that are here today care about the quality of life in our community, and really that's what Arbor Day is all about. So I want to welcome everyone here today. I want to also just recognize that we have with us several officials. Stan Sigel, our councilman at large, is here. We have Chuck Prisco, representing the First Ward, and his right-hand person, his wife, Mary. Dennis Simmons is here. Melissa Bonasek is also here. And I believe Dwayne Mapes is down at the Little League field on his way and will probably come a little later. At this time, I would like to ask our mayor, Mr. Ross Decker, who's also here with his right-hand person, his wife Carol, and Ross has a proclamation to issue today.
Al Gessner, thank you for the opening hymn, opening number, and thanks for all your young people. Really impressed with the young people that are out today. Mrs. Dahl, impressed with the Trinity, listened to them in previous years. Peter, I want to thank you personally for 14 years of Arbor Day celebration. I think that maybe each of us might have a personal favorite tree. I can remember when I was about the size of a Mackenzie Leroy, that I had a tree out in front of my house that was a big maple tree like this. It had big roots in it, and I used to play with my little cars, and that was my tunnels and my roads and everything else. And today, coming here, we have a beautiful Chinese maple tree in front of our house that's gorgeous, and down on the front of the side of the Presbyterian Church is my favorite weeping cherry tree on Sussex Street. And I think my big-time favorite tree in Port Jervis is the one in front of Flogene, the big oak there. But it's beautiful today, kind of crisp this morning. I think, Peter, you must have turned the heat up a little bit. But driving down here, all the different colors, you know, the magnolias are dying off now, and the weeping cherries are turning, but there's still a tremendous amount of color. And spring is such a beautiful time of the year. I've prepared a proclamation, and I would like to read it this time. Arbor Day 2002 Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas the Minnesink Valley Historical Society and the City of Port Jervis celebrate Arbor Day by planting trees, which are a renewable resource for our citizens. And whereas this year, street planting, which will take place at 26 Buckley Street, will enhance and beautify the neighborhood environment in the City of Port Jervis. And now, therefore, I, Ross B. Decker, Mayor of the City of Port Jervis, do hereby proclaim April 27, 2002 as a day to celebrate Arbor Day in the City of Port Jervis. Be it further proclaimed that I urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and to support our city's urban forestry program by planting trees to gladden the hearts and to promote well-being and present for future generations. Dated April 27, 2002, and signed by myself. And Mrs. Leroy, I'd like to call you forward and present this proclamation to you. Thank you. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. As always, when Peter plans these programs, he basically tells the master of ceremony what they need to do and what they need to say. Today, he wants me to remind you that during the 14 years, the City of Port Jervis has sponsored these days in conjunction with the Minnesink Valley Historical Society, of which, of course, Peter has been the executive director for some 20 years now. I believe, how many years has it been, Peter? 22 years. And as Peter also wants me to remind you is that the Arbor Day programs and the trees that we have come from, actually, it began with a man named Ed Dietz. Ed Dietz was also active in our community. He was obviously a lover of the nature and the beauty of our community. But he was also a board member of Minnesink Valley Historical Society. And he established a fund, a trust, an agency account, which is still part of the city's accounts. And each year, annually, we are able to purchase some trees from this account. I believe it was Ed Dietz that made the motion to hire Peter and somehow nudged me to make the second. We sometimes are unhappy with our motions and seconds, but on this one, Peter, we're happy that we still have you after 22 years. We also just wanted to remind you that in 1989, our first ceremony took place at Fort Decker, and the trees that we planted are now growing very beautifully and have added to the beauty of that whole Historical Society compound. In 1990, once again, we went to Fort Decker, and in those days, we honored Dr. Daniel Schultz. I see his son, Robert, is here today, and we planted trees in the front of the property to commemorate also the 20th anniversary of Earth Day. We then, we stayed at Fort Decker, it seems, Peter, for a number of years in the beginning because, again, we were trying to beautify that part of West End. And that's where we, again, were in 1991. But then in 1992, when Mayor Worden was mayor, it was decided that we would start planting trees in the downtown part of Port Jervis in the business district. And again, many of those trees that are now very beautiful and they've grown to maturity are lining Front Street and other streets downtown. And again, I think anyone would have to say that that was a good place to go for trees. But then we started to go to neighborhoods somewhat later. In 1994, we went to Elizabeth Street and had a celebration similar to what we're having today on Buckley Street. And the trees, again, on Elizabeth Street that line that street are very, very beautiful. So these are just some of the things, including the underpass as we go down into the Riverside section of Mr. Prisco's ward. We, again, were there, and I know, Chubby, you were there, and were really instrumental in asking that the trees be done in the Riverside area to beautify that entranceway to the city. And again, it was a lot of people giving ideas over the years as to where to plant trees and where to have the programs that I think we're also very happy with. And then again last year, just to go on to 2001, we had a tremendous ceremony, is what we called it, a tremendous ceremony, and it was a celebration that took part at the Cole Street Memorial Park, actually on East Main and Cole Street in Port Jervis, and the city really cleaned that park up, beautified it, took down some overgrowth that were on the monument that really was an eyesore over the years, and planted some beautiful trees in that property. And again, they are starting to really take hold and be beautiful. So again, we're very, very happy to be back to a neighborhood here in the First Ward, so that again, it's just one tree today, but it's the principle behind this tree that truly the community, the citizens, the government, the Historical Society want to maintain Arbor Day. We want to teach the young people that are here today that Arbor Day is something that we need to keep going throughout our community forever and ever, because it's truly trees that are going to make the community healthy and beautiful as we develop the city once again. With that, I'm going to ask our Orange County Legislator, Melissa Bonasek, to come forward, and I know she has a few words for us.
Thank you very much. I first would like to commend Mr. Roberts. I really didn't realize that Arbor Day tradition here in Port Jervis started under his administration. And I'd like to also congratulate the Minisink Valley Historical Society for keeping that tradition alive, especially Peter Osborne, as Mr. Roberts alluded. You had a lot to do with that, and it is a very important event. You've heard briefly today the history of Arbor Day. You've heard about the function of trees. I would just like to talk a little bit about trees as memorials. A lot has happened since you celebrated your Arbor Day last year. A lot has happened in our country, our state, and our community. I personally look at planting of a tree as remembering somebody special or remembering an event in somebody's life that may have been good or bad, but it's a memorialization. And I'd like to ask each one of you today, when this tree is planted, before you leave, take a moment, dedicate it in your mind and heart to somebody who impacted your life or an event that might have impacted your life, so that every time you pass this tree, you'll remember that memory, but you've also made this tree a little more special to you. So I hope you appreciate the tree, enjoy it, and maybe many people will meet here for cups of coffee, talk politics, talk whatever you want, but I look forward to driving down this street and thinking of my memory. I already have it up here. So congratulations to everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Melissa, and how true that is. I can remember some years ago, Carol Dahl from Trinity Catholic School was telling us about the tree in front of the school, and every time I go by that particular tree, I have some memories of my own for that quite old tree. I see Dwayne Mapes has just come. Welcome, Dwayne. Hopefully the game is over and your son's team won. Oh, that's this afternoon. Okay. Speaking of Trinity Catholic School, they have been a part of this ceremony for many, many, many years. We are very, very happy. Once again, their principal, Carol Dahl, is here to introduce her students. They're going to be presenting essays and special presentations. We also obviously have Mr. Gessner and the Trinity Band. And I'm going to tell you, Carol, when I spoke to you last week and you told me I'm going to be getting a number of your students at the middle school, I've already started to recruit some for my OM team and for other things. And I know Mr. Gessner will continue to recruit for our music program. We have always had just wonderful, wonderful students come from Trinity Catholic School. Students, one of your graduates, I'm going to be sending to the high school is Carl Davison, and he has been a member of my leadership team for the 2 years he's been with us. High honor roll, but also works with the administration, parents, and students to really provide programs, better programs for our school. So Carol, why don't you come forward and introduce your students and your program. And again, we're happy to have you.
We'll start with another number from the band. Thank you. While the mayor was talking about his favorite tree as a child, I was remembering my favorite tree as a child, which was about this close to my front porch. At that time, I thought it was a gigantic oak tree, but that was close to 60 years ago. And every time I visit my hometown, I have to go by and see how that tree is doing. It is absolutely huge. It's alive and well. It looks as beautiful, more beautiful than it did when I was a kid. The other trees that were favorites of mine as a child are gone. I used to go to a swamp and an old orchard that were about 2 city blocks from my house growing up, and I loved to climb trees. Well, that swamp and that orchard are long gone. It's all beautiful homes and everything now. So I can't go back and visit them, but I hope those kids have some place to go climb trees too. It's not just a matter of going to climb trees or sitting under them and playing with toy cars and so on. I used to climb a tree, read a book, climb a tree, look around, see how far I could see. I found it a place that was a good place to kind of meditate on the beauty of the earth and the goodness of God who gave us all these things. So trees are important to us, not just to the natural growth and preservation of soil and air and so on, but I think to our spirits and to our souls. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've always had our children participate in the Arbor Day ceremonies. It's kind of like a special thing for me. We had many of our children write little essays and poems and draw pictures. I have a lot of material here from our first graders, from our second graders, from our third graders. We only have, I think, 3 children here who actually have something with them that they drew or wrote, and I'm going to ask them to come up. I don't know about the kids in the band. Do any of you have a poem or something in your pocket? No? All right.
Just their music.
Just their music. All right. If you would come up, please, Leah. Leah is a second grader, and she has written something in cursive writing, and she has a picture. I'm going to ask you to step out here, Leah, so they can see it. Okay. Show it to them first, and then you can turn it around and read it. Step up.
Trees are important to me because they make me feel better when I'm sad.
Thank you. That's true, I think, for all of us. Our hearts can't help but be lifted when we see all these beautiful spring blossoms. The 2 Marjoram boys, would you come up, please? They do live in this neighborhood. About, 2 blocks from here? Just around the corner and up. All right, Anthony, would you turn around and show them all your picture? Go ahead. Okay, step out further so they can see. You want to tell us about your picture?
My picture's about my house and me, and
Do you have a tree in front of your house? Okay. Show them your picture again. Leah, did I take yours? Would you bring it back, please? Because these are going to the City Hall and they'll be hanging up. All right, Tracy, who is in, Anthony is in first grade. His brother Tracy is in 6th, and he has a poem.
Weeping willows of West End, so tall and beautiful are weeping willows of West End, limbs that hymn from the trees as the wind and the weeping willows blow on the banks of West End. Weeping willows remind us of a mother gently hugging her child as they play in the sun. Weeping willows are a gift from God. Stop and watch a weeping willow blow in a neighbor's yard throughout West End. Weeping willows of West End, the end. Thank you, Tracy Marshall.
Thank you, Tracy. Mayor, do you have someone with you who could take these? I'll take them. You'll take them? All right. Thank you.
very much.
You're welcome. Hey, Mr. Gessner, what are you going to play now?
We're going to do Echoes of the Civil War.
Okay.
Don't ask me why.
Echoes of the Civil War. Are you going to do down in the
By the river.
Riverside again?
At the end.
At the end. All right.
Everybody goes home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gessner. Thank you, students. Again, as we said, the students from Trinity Catholic School have traditionally made this a very, very important day for all of us because it's the young people that bring to us the spirit that this day is all about. I know our musicians under Mr. Gessner are developing into future musicians that will represent their schools wherever they go once they leave Trinity. And if they come to the middle school, they'll still have Mr. Gessner in our after-school programs, who runs our jazz band as well as prepares our students for county and state competition. So again, just a great thank you on behalf of the city and the Minnesink Valley Historical Society. And also, again, to our essay writers and poster students. Those posters and essays will, Ms. Dahl just gave them to the mayor. He tells me they will be on display at City Hall in a very appropriate place, probably in the council chambers, Mayor. And we welcome citizens again to go down and look at those. They're very, very beautiful, and the students put a lot of hard work and effort into those. At this time, I too would like to thank the city for their participation, our mayor, council people, but also our Public Works Department, obviously by the hole here on the street and the tree that's already here. That didn't get here by Peter Osborne. The Public Works Department has helped, and of course they assist in the sound system and everything else. I want to thank Vince Lopez, John Wolf, and their entire staff. They do an outstanding job all through the city. Also, our police department. It goes beyond saying that our police chief, Bill Wagner, always encourages his staff and his officers to be involved in the community. And again, they're doing, they blocked the street off, but when we were downtown and we had a lot of traffic, it gets complicated. So again, we want to thank the police department. Anyone that's ever called Peter Osborne at the Historical Society, and if he's out of the office, which occasionally he is, you'll get a tape. He always leaves these crazy quotes. The one that's presently on the